welcome to Live. Today we have lovely Parul over here.
Hi everyone. I'm Parul. I'm the founder and designer of Moaya.
What does Moaya actually mean?
So Moaya actually means illusion in Hindi. Basically, it's play on words. So when I lived in the US, no one could pronounce my name. So every time I would go shopping or order a coffee, I would just say Maya. Because I didn't want to have a conversation, and so that was my shopping name. And then I thought I would name my daughter Maya, but then when I started the brand, my brother came up with this actually. Why don't you name it Mo Maya, which could also mean more money, or illusion, or actually if you make it into a whole sentence, it's all that glitters is not gold. So that's what it basically means. For me, yeah, this is my first business venture.
It instantly kick off when you launch your first collection.
No. So
Where do you get all your inspiration from?
it keeps changing, to be honest. I mean, initially it started with all the travel, and basically because I lived away from India for so long, it was wherever we would travel and I would get inspired from those things. And then recently I've noticed in the last couple of years, I'm getting more interested back to the designs and patterns of India, because I've been away and doing different things for so long, and I'm slowly getting inspired from everything I see in India because I have to go back so often. But I would say usually from travel or something we're doing. Your favorite, the top you were talking to, we were just talking about the collection Namaste Sunshine. That was from my diving experience. I was a scuba diver for many years before my daughter. Now I'm scared. I love my life too much. I don't want to die, and then have her be left alone. But so that sea collection was inspired from that, and then having taken her to an aquarium, and I was like, oh, I should come up with. Basically, the idea was when you're sitting on a beach looking at a sunset, or maybe after a dive, after a long day, usually you'll do 3 or maximum 4 dives in a day, and then you come back, what are all the elements that come to your mind? And so it was just a combination of all those things.
You pick a few sea creatures.
Yeah.
I think it's jellyfish, and then there's a red crab, there's a stingray, or is it a manta ray?
It's the manta ray.
And seahorses.
And yeah. So behind every animal, so it's basically manta rays, because I just love manta rays and how majestic they are. It's just the beauty and elegance of how they just glide. I mean, I'll be honest, it's all inspired, but it also needs to look nice. And I think a lot of creative people or people in design and stuff have this personality trait. I don't know, it's like you just live in your own world and that's how you come up with stuff.
Yeah. Your design speaks to me, actually.
Thank you. And yeah.
What does fashion mean to you? It's not just clothes.
No, I do like everything to do with fashion. I'm like inspired by so many designers. I mean, sometimes I look at a dress on photos of fashion during Fashion Week and stuff, and it's art. It's, to me, how a person dresses. That's to do with their personality. I mean, it's an expression of their personality. And then fashion itself, clothing or jewelry or shoes, it's like everyone's creative. The person behind it is it's something creative. It's art. When I design, I just imagine if someone wears it or if I wear it, how good I feel? Do I feel confident? And it's everyone expresses or feels about their body differently. I was way more confident in my body before my daughter, and now it's always a struggle. I mean, it's not like I don't like my body or I don't like the way I look, but it's a bit of a struggle, and it's things that you don't like so much. So when I think of designing outfits now, especially, it's there's certain things I don't like about myself, or certain things I still maybe. So I'll,
Harder to accept.
but the overall, the look I see of that outfit is like, I should feel good. When I walk out, I should feel good and confident. And that's
That's what you want to portray. That's what,
that's
you
what
want
I
to
want to
embody.
portray. And then the ones I don't feel confident in, somehow I realize. So I know it's because I'm designing it, thinking myself or other women's bodies. But then I don't know, as an artist, it happens to everybody, or as a clothing designer, when you design something and you feel good in it, it just automatically translates to people somehow just catch on and they like those things. And the ones I'll just design either because it sells or because somebody might like this silhouette, but I personally don't, they ultimately don't do that well. So I'm still trying to find my true self and then how it should translate to the designs. But so far, I'm winging it and it's working, I guess.
I think you have a very keen eye, like when someone is in the changing room, when they come out with whatever clothes that they are wearing from your collection, you're able to tell instantly if they suit another skirt, or oh, I think you would like this instead, or the color will look good on this person.
Yeah, I feel because of my line of work, or in general, I can see what will flatter a woman's body, and then a lot of times when I suggest something, people. Let me put it this way, because a certain dress on a hanger might not look as nice or attractive, but then I know what it looks on a person. So if I suggest somebody based on how I feel will look on them, most times, because they couldn't imagine it just draped on a hanger, when they wear it, they're like, oh, I didn't think it would look so nice. And you can tell when a person walks in, I guess it's maybe just sheer numbers of how many times you sell and how many customers you see. You start learning what will look nice on a person and what they might like, what their style is, or whether they're in a mood to buy today or not, you know. And usually my goal is never to force a sale, because if they'll end up buying something they might not wear or not like, they're not going to be happy about it. But if they feel confident and they like the dress, they'll come back and they'll appreciate your designs more. So that's the goal.
What are the values that you think an entrepreneur should have?
So my number one thing is I'm honest with the customer. I realized this early on. There was an Etsy order when I was just starting. I think I had 2-3 designs, and the lady ordered from the photo, but the one I had, it was different color. It was I think scarlet red versus some little slightly one color off red. And I remember like, oh, it's $300. I should just send it. And I'm like, you know what? What if she complains? What if she doesn't like it? So I had this thought, and like, you know what? I need to tell her. And if she cancels the order because it's a little different, I sent her a photo. At least I've told her, and there's nothing afterwards. So I sent her the photo. I was like, this is what you ordered, it's a color comparison, and this is what she is. And she was so sweet. She's like, I mean, I don't see a difference, just send it. And so there's little things that happens when you have a business, saying, I can be honest or I can just let it slide. But
When do you make the choice?
so you realize that actually when you don't let it slide, when you're truly honest, people appreciate and they'll trust you more, and they'll never think, oh, she's trying to make a sale, or oh, she didn't tell me, she was trying to be sneaky, because in the long run it'll never work. So you have to be honest. If you know there is a little nick in the dress or there's a dot, you have to point it out. You have to bring it to their attention, because what's worse is them wearing it, getting out of the door, and then noticing a dot on the dress, and that's not going to make them happy and come back to you. So I think, again, going back to honesty, and then once you know whatever you're doing is working a little bit, then take risks. Take risks irrespective, but go crazy with your design, or don't hold back.
Do you think you have a lot of courage?
Not
Not
I
really.
hope so. I
think you do.
think I do. I mean, it's hard to say that about yourself. I mean, if I do. I mean, but I hope someone can
You do,
vet
you
it.
do, you do.
But I think I do. Not just in business. Maybe I'm more risk averse in business than I am in life. Risk averse, I mean, in business, like I didn't quit my job, and I have so much respect for people who believe in themselves and quit everything and then put 100% in what they are passionate about. But I was still at my job full time, trying to build a website, trying to start this business. In hindsight, I wouldn't necessarily change anything. Maybe I could have quit my job a year or two sooner. I didn't want to quit my job. Think, what if my business wasn't successful? Then who's paying the bills, or who's, for at least for my independence? So I kept it until I was 100% sure that the business is taken off or it's paying. My goal was, unless my business pays more than my salary, I'll keep the job. So in that way, I don't know if that's a good thing. Was that self-doubt? If I was more if I were more confident, I would have done differently. I don't know. But as of me now in present, I think it was okay. It worked out, and that also gave me money to travel, to design the things I wanted to design. I didn't have to take money from anybody. So I just, whatever I made at my work, I would just use to fund the business. So it worked out. And you're my favorite customer.
Thank you.
And because I feel it really helps. I mean, when someone comes in the studio and they understand the design and they can understand the effort or ask the questions that what, it does make you, it makes you more motivated and feel proud. So you've always made me feel good about my work.
Thank you for making me look pretty in your clothes.
It was basically how I want it on a woman's body.
But I think it captures a woman's silhouette really well.
Yeah. So that, yeah, the construction of all the dresses I take very seriously. I mean, it has to fit the right way. It has to flatter the right parts. Otherwise, you can have a beautiful print and a, I don't know, for a lack of a better word, dud dress, and it just falls flat and doesn't do anything for you. But the print, then it's a waste of a nice print too. So, yeah.
Has your identity as a fashion designer or like as yourself, because you said earlier that you are trying to find your true self in the way that you wing life, has it changed after you become a mom?
I think so in some way, but I feel with one child, I was able to, because I have one daughter, and I'm still able to have the life. I mean, you change as a person, but I feel my identity has not necessarily changed. Maybe because it's just one child, I don't know. But it did for 2 years, yes. When I was just a mother for the first 6 months, and I was struggling because, I mean, you have one daughter that you just don't know, and then your parents are not here, your family is not here. We live, we don't have any family here, so there's nobody to guide you or anything. And with my business, I realized what it was. If I didn't feel good in my body, it was hard for me to design. And then after 6, so that, yes, it changed so much. And I'll be honest, I didn't necessarily enjoy those 6 months. They were really tough. And I didn't want to work, and basically didn't want to do anything. And not that I was necessarily enjoying just being at home breastfeeding or taking care of the child. So it was a tough time. And then slowly after, I guess it does get better after 6 months because they're able to hold their head and they'll survive. And
you can stop breastfeeding.
And then I was thinking, I was like, okay, I've passed the 6-month mark, and then slowly I'll just be over it. And I mean, it's commendable how women do it longer. It's just insane. It's so hard. So then, so after 6 months, actually, she was 5 months when I did the first collection after she was born. And it was okay. It did make me realize.
The first collection started after birth.
No, the first after her birth. So the first started in 2017. So then I got pregnant. I was designing still, but after she was born, because it was COVID time too, so I hadn't been to India. I was designing everything online and through my manager and just back and forth. So it wasn't the same. And then the first time I went to India after COVID, after her birth, I did the crazy bird, you know, the ones with the ruffles, which I still love to date.
But the green one and the velvet.
Yeah, and the reason behind was because I was not happy with my body at the time, but I wanted to not show so much arms, so I had the ruffles here, but show the side, but not the stomach. So it was just completely draped based on hide and show. Show whatever I like and hide what I don't. And it was quite a hit, and it's people still like it, and I still wear it. So it changed how I thought about myself, yes. And then, of course, when you become a mother, that's the only thing you love the most unconditionally. I mean, it's cliched, but it is true. But as they get older, I guess now we do everything we have to. Travel is different, but we both, my husband and I, we go out or we see friends. She's a good sleeper. We're lucky, not these days, but we're lucky we can have our time back, at least in the evenings. So,
do you think you have to choose between your career and being like a mom or a good mom?
I mean, it's all of it is true what you're saying, and it's a struggle that every woman goes through. I think for me the biggest struggle was I feel the first year was so hard, and it's the mom guilt, and you leave them. And it's also, you're struggling so much. Your relationship struggles, and I mean, it suffers. And you're also, it's so much. I have a friend who has who delivered recently. Her daughter is 4 years, and 4 months. And I look at her and I can see there's so much pressure on women, especially in the first year. 1 year hormonal, you go through all the postpartum depression, which most of us don't even realize we have. Because then if you acknowledge it and then you think, oh, but no, not me, how can I have it? But everybody, like for me too, you look in and then you see in hindsight, then you think, wait, those 5-6 months, I was not the same person. Or whichever, how much ever longer it takes a woman to recover from that. It's just, but it's not just the hormones, it's the things that you have to do. I mean, you're solely responsible for this child life. It's like if you don't feed, they don't, I mean, you have, and then it's all through you, what you eat. So my biggest struggle was, we found out at 4 months, so my daughter was pooping blood, and we found out she was allergic to dairy, which you had to do this elimination diet. You have the 4 allergens. And all that is fine. I mean, people go through much harder things, but then it's the support or other people who judge you and stuff. I had this doctor telling me, the pediatrician, she was 4 months, I was 4 months postpartum, and she had the audacity to say, so it's like, yeah, I'm eliminating all dairy. And I was already in tears and so emotional, because you feel like she's pooping blood, right? You feel it's serious, but it's actually quite normal when they have some type of allergy. And I told the doctor, I said, wait a second, oh, I had a croissant. Oh, that has butter, that has dairy. And she looks at me and she says, well, it's your daughter's life. You can't be thinking. You have to make sure you don't eat it. And something so judgmental that I couldn't even defend myself. And my husband has to like, how dare you talk to her like that? So he was defending, yes, but what I'm saying is, like, you feel so weak, and I'll get emotional, but but it is quite hard. So, in fact, I don't know how women have multiple kids. It's so anyway, point is, it is hard for women, especially in the first year. And then it's much better. I mean, now I do everything I have to. And then I'm a little selfish too. So I did put her in school at 18 months because I did want to get back to work and get my life back. But the first year was, my gosh, no one tells you, no one prepares you for that. Because we are told to make it seem so easy and natural. So that's what I feel.
I look up to you a lot.
Oh, thank you. I mean,
From the first time I met you, your husband is always very supportive of your designs. I think there was one.
Yes, it was my.
The second boutique fair, I think. I think it was a dress or something like that, and he was just mumbling to himself. He was saying like, I don't even know she did a design like that. Oh, it's really very nice. I look at him, I'm like, yeah, it's really very nice. And he helps out, and then he will come to you and be like, how much is this? How much is this?
He does get it wrong most times, but yes, he's helped out since day one, since the first time I did boutiques. And so then now we have a deal, even though I have help, we have a deal that he'll just have to be there as just support system or someone I want to talk to. I do, so going back to the personality thing, one thing I realize has changed after having my daughter is I've become more introverted or more, I don't talk as much as I used to. Like I was a social butterfly before, but that part of my personality has changed a bit. So even at boutiques, for example, I'll be in the corner. I'll help out, obviously, and if you talk to me one-on-one, I'll talk. But it's different. So him and I will just stand on the corner, and then I'll chat one-on-one, as opposed to just being like a social butterfly. So that has changed. But yeah, he comes, he helps. He takes off twice a year, both boutiques. And sometimes he has to cancel his own trips. He's a scientist. He's a professor at NTU. So sometimes he has to cancel it. Yeah, material science, AI, tries to tell me what he does. Like, I don't care. But I'm joking. But
No, you're not joking.
some of it I care, and then most of it I was like, I don't know. If I don't see, I don't believe. So, and yeah, so he does. He's overly supportive sometimes, so I have to reel him back, say, okay, no, we're not doing this. I'm not opening a store. I'm not doing this. It's like, no, you should. And so it's good to have that in a partner or family. Growing up, I didn't have that in my family. They support me a lot now. They're my biggest supporters. But in India, I was different. So I didn't have that type of support at all. So to have that in him, and now my family is very supportive too. So all that, I'm fortunate. So if people have that, they're lucky, and because not everybody can have that.
So I was saying, I look up to you a lot because I think I see a bit of myself in you, to feel like it's yourself again. There's a switch mode. It's like now I have to be a mom mode. Then I can be like on my own. But I think it's only during those quiet moments where you truly can speak to yourself.
You know, I would say I'm a little fortunate in that way. So one thing we did early on, we both have to travel for work a lot. So I travel by myself. So my first trip I took, she was maybe 1 year, the first one alone. And I won't lie, I loved it. And I was crying the whole way there on the flight because I was mom guilt. And then I was so sad, I was scared. But once I was there in the hotel room on this bed alone, I loved it. And I was obviously working, I was designing. And I went for 3 days only at first. But I realized I'm lucky that way, that I get this time to myself. It is so important. Otherwise, you'll go nuts. I mean, you'll go crazy after just being one thing to somebody. It's you need to find those moments of where you can find yourself. And I'm lucky that I can do that through my work. And then we both actually. And he goes to travel alone for his work. And then we are back and we're a family. So, but you're right, it's those little moments where you're by yourself and you just being yourself. I mean, my favorite thing to do when I travel, it'll sound really spoiled, like usually when I go for work, so my busiest time is when I go to India or when I go to the US. But when I go to India, I'll go to the gym, then I'll go for a nice dinner, and then I'll just sleep at 9 or 10, watch some TV. Sometimes you just need that because I know she's taken care of, she's safe, my husband's watching her and he's taking care of her, she'll be fed. But if you're home, you just can't do the same. She can't be home and then I am like, oh, I'm gonna just chill and watch Netflix in the room. It just doesn't happen. So yeah, it does help to have those little moments of aloneness. I wasn't close at all growing up, meaning I was close. We all loved each other, but my parents wanted me to be married at 18 or 20 at most.
Is that still a thing?
No, it's changed. But back in the day, this is 21 years ago, and and where I come from, Punjab, which is North India, it's quite traditional in that they don't want women. Not they. I'm generalizing, but a lot of families, they don't want women to be so educated or be too independent because they won't be a good match for. So it's quite traditional in that way. I wasn't even allowed to wear sleeveless or whatnot, and now, I mean, it doesn't matter. I mean, you can wear a bathing suit, doesn't matter. But all that is after you get married. But before, it's still quite strict. And I was planning to do engineering, and so I took science for my 10th grade, 11th, 12th, and my parents didn't want that. And then I went to an engineering college. They didn't want that, so they were unhappy. And then I decided to go to grad school, and they didn't let me for a year. So of course, you can see when these things happen, when you're growing up, you obviously are not happy as a child, and you fight back. And then eventually I made it out, took a year off because they didn't let me go. And then I finally went to Georgetown University, and then everything changed. And once I had a good job, and when I met my partner and everything, then
They
it's all
become
good.
more acceptable.
Yeah. After that, it's just like a 180-degree switch. And my mom and I had some struggle when I was 5 months postpartum. I think it's to do with, I don't know if it's mother and daughter. It always happens, but it was certainly with mine. But I think it's quite difficult. It's with family. There's ups and downs, and you go through this, and there's clashes. But ultimately, it's all again after having Mahi, my daughter.
Perspective.
Your perspective changes. I think what's more important, her relationship with her grandparents or my little, tips here and there. So it doesn't matter anymore. It seems.
I think it's a very common thing. When you want to study engineering, why did they not allow?
So traditionally, back then at least, it was you do arts or you do something or you do home science
it's not
or
a
something.
feminine.
Yeah, and then you go to college, you do some education, like some bachelor's for the sake of, and then you become a good housewife and then a mother and all that. So in my case, I mean, I saw certain things growing up that I didn't want, not with my parents, but others in my family that I didn't want to happen to me. So I think it was quite early on, I had decided I need to be financially independent. Number one thing. And
As a woman?
As a woman. And my only ticket to financial independence would be through education. If I'm educated, I can always get a job. So which was the main reason why I just pushed and pushed until I went to the US, because what I was doing, I wouldn't have been able to get a decent job at the time in India, and I'll still be around my family, and something will happen. So I just had to get out. I didn't go home for 2.5, 3 years almost, because I knew this whole marriage thing. And then it was during recession, 2009, I graduated. Everyone was being sent home, all the foreign students in the US. But I got my dream job at Berkeley Lab. And then, yeah, then it was, there's no going back since. So yeah.
You did such a good job.
It was my first time I realized what it is to be financially independent, to have your own apartment you can rent, and to buy whatever you want. I mean, whatever money, little money you had, but a restaurant, wherever you want to go, to be by myself. It was a good time.
You like that?
I loved it. So yeah.
When did you meet your husband?
So this was 2 years after grad school. I worked at Johns Hopkins for a bit and then moved to Berkeley. It was 2011, and then we met on a bus.
Do you feel safe with him? I'm
might not
asking
like
this
it.
because I think security would be something that is quite important to you. Because you're also a very independent person.
Yeah.
So to allow you to have that as well, I think that takes
A
a lot of maturity.
Yeah.
And he has to be very grounded as well.
And to be a feminist, I think. So I would say feeling secure, I mean, why I asked, like, what do you mean by secure? So secure as in, will he fight some bad guy? I don't think so. But then he might be like, get out of that situation, don't involve me. But secure as in, as a father of my daughter or as my partner,
Both.
absolutely. And then we're both quite independent in every way, that we need each other, maybe emotionally more than financially or any other way. I mean, it's a family unit. But one thing I'll say though, with your partners, when you have a hardship, like a child or something, sometimes you can't get everything from your partner. So I had to, when we moved to Singapore, so it was quite hard for me because I left my whole life behind in the US. And because I moved for his job, it was quite hard for me to adjust and for him to understand. So sometimes you have to seek, I don't know, emotional support outside, in a friend, in a girlfriend, and which was in my case, and that really helped me, because him and I were not, it wasn't working in that way, whether I would complain about something and he was done with my complaints. And the same with the child too. Sometimes you just need to have women who are going through the same thing to be your support system, than to be your partner. So there have been instances, of course, I mean, this is, I can say all good things, but in a relationship, you go through all these things. And sometimes the most critical times, you can't have your partner give you everything you need. But on everyday basis in life, for the last 14 years, yeah, if he's given security and everything else that I need, yes.
In a daily life, there has to be a minimum amount of support, but then you
Yeah.
are still on your own individually.
As long as support in terms, you know that the other person has your back, you know, and it's almost like this. But if there's hardship, sometimes they're just not capable, and I told him, we did go through a tough time after my daughter, not after we had the dog, we got the dog, because dogs are easy, it's not, you know, but then after the daughter, it was really tough. And I remember saying, all I need is you to not do chores. Yes, you help. It's, yeah, you're doing all the chores that I need you to do, but I need your emotional support, and I don't have it. And I didn't even know what I needed, but it wasn't what he was giving. So it's
Emotions, sometimes you just can't translate it into words.
Yeah, yeah.
And it's very hard to ask for.
Right, and then you also have this expectation that they're your partner, they would know
should,
what I
yeah.
need, they should know what I need. But it's, I don't think they'll ever understand what a woman goes through if you're with a guy, you know. I think it's mutual, really. I mean, it's a give and take, but a lot of times you have to take a step back and it's hard to explain, but relationships, I mean, they're hard. We've all, dated different types of guys or partners, and I wanted someone different from my last one, someone who really paid attention to me and then was available emotionally, and that's what I was looking for. Also smart and a bit good looking. I'm kidding, but smart or funny, and we all want that. But really, someone who doesn't make you feel less of yourself. That's
someone who makes you want to be a better person.
Yeah, or always rooting for you. I don't know if this will make anyone who's younger, in their 20s or something, to start their own or follow their passion. Just hearing the story that everyone can start what they're passionate about at any age. I started in my 30s, and there's no right or wrong age, and even if it's not successful, you have to try it. Try it once, maybe twice. I would just suggest that keep a certain time and financial goal in mind, that this is how much time I'm going to spend on this thing. If it's not successful, then too bad, and this is how much money I'll spend on this. Just have that goal. What's that?
What if it fails?
What if it fails? It's again, but you keep trying, right? Because you've put a goal for yourself that I'm going to keep trying until 2 years or until 4 years, and I'm going to spend, for example, $20,000 or $2,000. It doesn't matter, but you have that goal and you want to keep trying.
You'll
because
make it happen.
You'll make it happen, and in that process, you'll also realize whether you're meant to do this or whether you're good at it or not. So I realized I did do kaftans in my first collection. I was terrible at it. Because I never wore kaftans, I didn't like kaftans, and some people bought, but it was never going to be for me or for my design. Or there was a time in Singapore I wanted to be a food blogger or something. It wasn't for me. I'm not. It's some people just have the gift, or I love cooking, but I'm not that good at it. Or to be that as my career. So this, whatever things you'll do, you'll realize, but just have, in my opinion, have that baseline and goal.
I agree with you.
Yeah.
Can you say, can you give one advice for moms out there?
I'll say, do take time for yourself, and you just come up with a way that you can make your life easier if you can. And if you can, and if you have to go to work and you have to leave the child at school or at with your helper or with your family, it doesn't matter. If you have to do that, you have to do it. And it just, do not, I don't know how to say it.
Do not hate yourself for it.
Yeah, it just, try not to feel guilt with that thing. It doesn't happen instantly, but it can happen over a period of time. Like, there are times in the morning I do feel guilt, but I just want to sleep in because I had a long night. I had a call at late night, and I let my husband do it. I do feel guilty for a little bit, but you have to have that balance. Otherwise, it's really hard. And then especially we deserve it after the first year, like I said, we go through and what we go through. I think, yeah, just taking time for yourself. Sounds cliche, it sounds easy to do, it's not. But it's so important. And then maybe try to find a group of friends or a circle or somebody you can talk to, if it's not your partner or if not the person you live with. It does help with your mental state. As a mother, if someone can understand, I didn't understand this when I was going through that, but I realized in hindsight, if I had women like me or who had felt this way, if I spoke to them, it would have helped me. And so do look for similarly situated people to talk to.
Thank you.
My pleasure.